What are you waiting for? Do I sound like Jennifer Love Hewitt and I know what you did last summer? I want to talk about a problem that a lot of us entrepreneurs face, especially when we first start our businesses. And that is the problem of waiting for permission. Hi, I'm Lindsay, and I teach women how to make money online using their creative skills. And I can tell you that I have fallen victim to this quite a few times in my business. And so I want to bring it out into the open so we can look at it, then face it and say, bye, Felicia. I think this idea of waiting for permission all started when we were in school. And the reason I say that is because school taught us that we can't do anything without permission, like going to the bathroom, passing a class, moving on to the next subject, and so on. So it's because of this that we have this feeling, this need to always get permission to do something before we do it. So then what happens is that it shows up in our businesses because it's stuck in our subconscious minds as something that we must do before we do something. And let me tell you how this has shown up for me. So before I started selling handmade party decorations on Etsy, I remember that I had created some party decorations for someone's child's birthday. And at the party, people were always saying to me, wow, you should really do this. You're really good at this stuff. You should sell this stuff. Or why aren't you doing this on Etsy? And I would say, well, I don't know if I'm good enough. Or, I'm not sure that people would like my stuff because it's just not professional enough. All these thoughts that we have. And I think what I was waiting for was someone to invalidate those feelings and say, no, Lindsay, you have officially made some great items and therefore you are now able to sell on Etsy. I was waiting for, the king of the internet, or the guru of Etsy or the party decoration oracle to tell me that it was okay and that I was good enough to try selling my stuff. And guess what? That never happened. And then later, when I switched to selling printables, I remember feeling that very same way. Again, I felt like even though I was on my computer every day for work, even though I had made files for people in the past, even though I thought that maybe it was something I could do or I could be good at, there was that little voice in my head that was telling me that I wasn't ready or, that I didn't know enough and who was I to be doing that? And again, I was waiting for permission from someone who would say, you are good enough. You are worthy enough. You can do this. And, I dubbed thee capable of selling printables on Etsy, right? And then most recently, when I was considering teaching a course on how to make and sell printables, I said to myself, who am I to be doing this, right? I looked at my competitors in the space. I said to myself, they know so much more than I do. Who am I to be teaching this? I don't know enough. Maybe I should take more classes on how to sell printables. I felt like that even though I had sold over 10,000 printables on Etsy. And I still felt like I needed to wait for someone to come to my house, knock on the door and say, oh, hey, Lindsay, if you learn X number of new things and if you make X amount of money, then you are going to be qualified to teach this stuff. See, again, I was waiting for that permission from someone else. And when we do this time and time again, because we've been trained to think this way, we think if only I had more training, education, or experience, then I could do this thing. But actually, the funny thing is that in our own lives, that hasn't been how we've learned how to do most of anything, right? When we first started walking, we didn't wait for more education or training. We just had to do it. And then we got better and better. And this leads to the idea that action creates clarity. I talk about this a lot with my students. Or that something leads to something. You see, we don't often know what our ideas are going to turn into until we take action on the idea that we have. Bear with me. I was thinking about this when it comes to Bravo TV. Is anyone else a fan of Bravo? I'm going to talk about Bravo because I'm a huge Bravo fan. I watch Below Deck and Housewives and Vanderpump Rules and so many shows that are probably a huge waste of my time. But, I can't help it. I'm human, right? And funnily enough, I was thinking recently about their newest show, Traitors. It is one of my husband and I's favorite shows right now because it takes the Bravo celebrities and other reality TV people and puts them in a game against each other that is really interesting. It has like psychological kind of things to it and it's fun to watch. And I had seen how one of those housewives who was recently appearing on Traitors now has a podcast talking about the show. And I was thinking how interesting it was that she was doing that because she actually came out from the very first Bravo show, which I believe was Housewives of Orange County. And I just thought, man, that's so crazy. Imagine if Andy Cohen, the creator of this this channel basically if he had had the idea for Housewives and he hadn't taken any action on it. Someone could have told him, hey, you don't have experience doing this. You don't know the first thing about Housewives, right? And he could have said, you're right. But instead, he moved forward with the idea, and that idea has just grown and changed into this huge thing where they have BravoCon, where all the celebrities come together in Vegas and people buy tickets to the show. And it's this huge thing. And then Bravo celebrities have created brands and products out of this, including this one woman who started this podcast. And I just thought that was just such a great example of how something always leads to something else. And you can't get to that other something without doing the first idea. And so many times we are not doing that first thing because we feel like we don't have the permission that we need. And the truth is, no one is going to give you the permission. That's the message of this video today. And you probably are waiting for permission because no one else, around you is doing what you're doing. No one has your vision, and therefore you might have naysayers or you might have people telling you that it's just not a good idea. And that's because they don't have your vision. They don't have your idea. And there's a new book out right now called Worthy, and it's by Jaime Kern Lima, and I'm going to link it under this video. And she says, you're not crazy, you're just the first. Because you can feel like a crazy person when you have these ideas and no one around you is supporting you with them, or no one, really gets it. And that's because you're the first. So don't wait for that permission because it's never going to come. When we bypass the permission and we go straight into action, amazing things can happen. And again, something always leads to something. So I want you to take this encouragement today and take action on something that you're excited about, starting in your business or starting a business. Take action on something that scares you because, as I always love to quote, everything you want is on the other side of fear. So I'll see you in the next video.